I'm Dia Wall here in the WFAA newsroom. Thanks for joining us here on WFAA Plus. You may have got that blue alert on your phone. Well, the FBI is searching for the 12th and final suspect in what they called an ambush on law enforcement. If you look at your screens right now, this is Benjamin Song. He's a former U.S. Marine Corps reservist accused of joining those 11 others in an organized attack against officers at the Prairieland Detention Center. Now, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Texas, this all happened here in Alvarado. We got an update on this entire situation, what happened when the ambush occurred. We're going to go to a package now and a story that was put together to kind of explain what happened by our Adriana D'Alba.
Outside the Prairieland Detention Center in Alvarado, heightened security after a shooting at the ICE facility on 4th of July.
This was an egregious attack on federal and local law enforcement officers.
Federal authorities revealing new details on Monday, saying they believe it was a coordinated attack.
It was a planned ambush with the intent to kill ICE corrections officers.
Federal prosecutors say Friday night, about a dozen people wearing black military-style clothing launched fireworks outside the ICE facility and vandalized it.
Seemed to be designed to draw ICE personnel outside the facility.
It escalated after officials say someone separate in a nearby wooded area shot an Alvarado police officer in the neck, who is now recovering. Officials say another person nearby began firing too.
Shot 20 to 30 rounds at these unarmed corrections officers. There was an AR-style rifle found at the scene.
Deputies stopped 7 suspects nearby. Investigators saying they found body armor, weapons, and radios. Inside the vehicle, a flag that said "Fight ICE Terror." It's unclear if this incident is connected to a shooting in McAllen, where an armed man was killed after exchanging gunfire at a Border Patrol facility. Federal prosecutors arresting and charging 10 people. They're facing 3 counts of attempted murder of a federal officer, among other charges. An investigation into the Alvarado incident still underway. In Alvarado, I'm Adriana De Alba.
As for the people who are a part of this, accused of taking part in this ambush, who have already been arrested to this point, Zachary Evans of Waxahachie, Joy Gibson of Dallas, Bradford Morris of Dallas, Maricela Rueda of Fort Worth, Seth Sykes of Kennedale, Elizabeth Soot of Fort Worth, and Inez Soto of Fort Worth, they all face criminal charges. And I want to make sure I get this right, including attempted murder of a federal officer, discharging a firearm during a violent crime, terrorism, and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon against a peace officer. Our Cole Sullivan was out talking to people. In fact, someone who witnessed part of the fallout after this ambush occurred, also bringing us some video of the scene.
She heard the attack from her house.
Then we heard bam, 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 bam.
And watched what happened next with her phone in her hand.
I think a cop got shot over there, right there.
This video shows the seconds after prosecutors say nearly a dozen people, almost all from North Texas, ambushed an Alvarado police officer, shooting him in the neck, they say, after luring him to the Prairieland Immigration Detention Center on the 4th of July.
They were running back and forth, back and forth.
This woman asked us not to identify her after hearing details from the FBI. Details like the suspects dressed in black with body armor, carried radios, and shot up to 30 rounds from AR-15 style guns at officers, according to a new court document. It says one suspect told officers he met people online, then drove them here to, quote, make some noise. The FBI says the suspects spray painted this graffiti, and agents found anarchist flyers and flags, like this one. Since the shooting, that neighbor tells me there's been a huge police presence here, including this checkpoint with an armored vehicle set up by Homeland Security officers.
It is a planned, coordinated guerrilla warfare ambush attack. And it's terrorism as far as I'm concerned.
Clint McNear with the Texas Municipal Police Association says the wounded officer is a member.
It's a long road ahead, and we are praying for a full and complete recovery.
After an ambush.
You're chasing somebody.
Caught on camera.
We've never had anything like that happen here.
In Alvarado, I'm Cole Sullivan.
My colleague Cole Sullivan is joining us now. And Cole, you've been reporting on this for days at this point. Talk to us about the new information that we've learned even today.
Well, we got this new information today, not only this blue alert for this 12th suspect involved in all of this, Dia, but we also got charging documents tied to the 11th person. That person, according to these federal charging documents, was not actually at the ICE detention facility when this happened, but is charged with crimes that happened after the fact, tampering with evidence after this. This is an investigation that stretches far beyond Alvarado and Johnson County all the way to Dallas County. Officials in these federal complaints say that the folks involved in this met online in a Discord server and came to Oak Cliff, to a house there to stage, they say, before going to this ICE detention facility to carry out what they call an ambush.
Really disturbing stuff that we've learned, and also the scene. Kind of describe the mood and the atmosphere. It's not every day that you see, nearly a dozen people who are implicated in something like this.
I think there are two sides to that question, Dia. One is the scene at the time, the chaos as this unfolded. Some of the details from law enforcement say that within a minute of that Alvarado police officer arriving on scene, suspects opened fire, shooting him in the neck, and then also shooting at some of those correctional officers who were there on scene as well. The chaos and the aftermath of that from that witness that you heard as officers tried to find all of the people involved, some who drove away and were stopped in traffic stops nearby, and now a 12th person, we're told, who's on the run still at this point. The scene now is still very tense. When you pull up to this ICE detention facility, there's a new checkpoint set by armed Homeland Security officers that are outside of the normal perimeter of this. And when we pulled up to start talking to some neighbors, the ones you heard there, and also understand more about the scene, they stopped us. They said, "What are you doing here?" They have that big armed bear cat that you saw there as well. They're taking this very, very seriously after an attack on one of their own.
Obviously, that blue alert is for the 12th suspect, Benjamin Song. We showed you his photo there, mugshot rather, or photo. And ICE, in the Monday evening news conference, local and federal officials called this a coordinated attack on law enforcement and ICE. What did those documents show to kind of corroborate that?
So one of the things that the documents talk about is, as this unfolds, the timing of it and the fact that it happened so fast. So what they say is these 10 or 11 people who were here on scene, or there on scene at Prairieland Detention Facility, had body armor, they had radios, they were dressed in all black, they had helmets, some of them did, according to these affidavits. They also were there with fireworks and spray paint. They began spray painting some of the vehicles in the parking lot of that detention facility and shooting fireworks, these complaints say, towards the detention facility. That prompted some of the ICE officers inside to call 911 and ask for local police response. When that response happened, that's when the shooting occurred. Officials saying people hiding in kind of a brushy woods area were shooting at those officers as they arrived. They say the fireworks, the spray paint, that was all designed to lure police officers to the scene to ambush them at that point.
Cole, for people who are kind of getting bits and pieces of this story and just getting caught up, what do you think is the big takeaway, and what are we still waiting to learn?
I think two parts are big takeaway. One is that there's a suspect on the run who they need your help to find. That person there, Benjamin Song, who they're looking for right now. Nearly a dozen people involved, or a dozen people involved in all of this, nearly a dozen there that night, is the other big takeaway. This was not a one-off, one-person thing. The law enforcement experts I've talked to say that this was a calculated, coordinated, planned attack, a planned ambush on law enforcement, and that is a big deal to have that happen right here in North Texas.
Just for the last time, the 12th suspect in this ambush, Benjamin Song, still has not been arrested. That's why you got those blue alerts on your phone. And the documents say that he is accused of buying 4 weapons that were used in this ambush, 2 of them AR-style rifles. So we're going to continue to keep you updated there. The Alvarado City Council is set to meet behind closed doors to discuss this incident tomorrow. The mayor tells us that local police, the chief there, is going to provide an update to council members at that time as well. So this is a story we will definitely continue to follow. Cole, thank you for your insight, and thank you for joining us here on WFAA Plus.